All right, so the public can attend, of course, this meeting in person, first floor meeting room in the library. This meeting is also streamed on the library's YouTube channel, and a recording is made available after the meeting at the city's website. Community members are invited to address the board during this time. Are there any community members that would like to address the board? Okay. Hearing none, let's move on to roll call. Teresa?
Present.
Adam?
Here.
Angela? Myself, Nick, I'm here. Steve?
Here.
The agenda, can I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Seconded? Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, updates and reports, beginning with the Library Foundation.
You'll see that included in the packet. Brenda apologizes for not being here. She is promoting Wisdom and Wine on Midwest Access this afternoon. So a reminder, she wants me to remind you to sign up if you have not yet for WIT, which is coming up on January 27th. And also wanted to highlight that the disbursement and pass-through totaled $124,000. Yay! They've also approved a 3% disbursement for 2024. That totals $100,000.
Brenda asked me to comment about food for WIT, and I was able to sample it, and it's very good. So if you like pasta and good wine and good desserts, then you should buy your ticket and attend WIT and come and hear me speak.
I got my ticket already, and I picked up the next one.
Wow.
Anything else? Okay. Okay, thank you. Friends of the Library.
Hi, Val Kalashewski with the Friends, and my report, as you've got in the agenda, is first of all, 2024 is the 75th anniversary of the Friends here at the Rochester Public Library. So at our annual meeting that is coming up Monday, January 29th, as part of that, our speaker will be giving a presentation on We've Come a Long Way Friends. And we're going to have a slideshow with historical pictures for the last 75 years. As you are all volunteers at the library through your board membership, you are also cordially invited to attend. We will have numbers next month, financial numbers for how much we made last year, as well as the bookstore check. We like to announce our numbers at the annual meeting to membership before we bring them to the library board. We are also having a Winterfest book sale in the auditorium starting Thursday, February 8th through Sunday, February 11th. And then one last thing that I wasn't aware of when I put together the document for the meeting is the store is planning to have, or starting today, the store is having a half-price cold weather clearance sale. So everything in the store is half price. Starting today, goes through Saturday of this week. So just a few days. And we're hoping to move lots as we continue to get tons of inventory coming in through the donations every day. So, any questions?
Thank you, Bill. Selco update, there isn't a report, right? Planning committee update. We met, what date was that? That was January 8th. For the first time. I'll just kind of summarize the minutes of what happened at that meeting. Just to go through the members of that committee, Steve, Omnia, Dee, and myself are on that committee. Jeremiah is on the committee. Kim, Karen, of course, Desmond McGowan, he's the city planner, he's on there. Jacob Metz, he's with the city administration. He's a Harvard fellow, which will be there for a while.
Yes, he has a 2-year fellowship.
Okay. And Zach Wood with city facilities. So we talked about generally kind of a broad overview of the current space challenges that the library faces. And we decided that the focus can't only be on just building modification, but rather the study needs to focus on how the community is impacted by the space challenges. And the group agreed that a co-designed study plan is important. We also decided to have the staff provide us with a few examples of requests for proposal studies from other libraries that were of similar size, at least, and we had three or four, three. Okay, and they were from they were from a library in Bend, Oregon, the city of Bellingham, and there was another one in Arizona. And those RFPs kind of vary in their emphasis, but there's a lot I think that can be derived from there. And I think maybe Karen can talk a little bit more about that. We plan to meet again this coming Monday at 11 o'clock, and we'll consider these RFPs and go from there. And we certainly will need to make sure that whatever we maybe kind of borrow from any of those RFPs, the uniqueness of Rochester's community demographics and so forth really need to be taken into account. Do you want to say anything more?
Yeah, I think the only thing I want to add is trying to find who's done something exactly like us is impossible because we are a very unique community. But we did search for some RFP examples that were in similar, at least sized communities. So we weren't comparing ourselves to San Diego, for example, who did a very lovely study with their 39 branches. So we wanted to have something a little more apples to apples. And so we narrowed it down to communities ranging in size between 77,000 and 330,000, so that we have a much more comparable community size to look at. We found some really great options. Jeremiah, Kim, and I reviewed the options that we've been able to locate that both had an RFP and a completed study or completed facilities or completed master plan, so we could see if, who was getting what they thought they were getting when they put the RFP together. So, add about that. I have had conversations with Allison, the city administration, about how to best involve city council and receive some of their feedback in at least reviewing or acknowledging the RFP, and we may be attending a future study session to get some of their insight and feedback.
So I have a question. About 10% of the budget is from the county, correct? And as I was looking at the list, I think the county representation. I was wondering if we can consider asking somebody from the county commission to like.
That I don't know.
I would turn to our friend Laurel.
I'd certainly be willing to join the planning committee. Vic and I discussed that I basically have the space to be in one committee as opposed to several. So I'd be happy to make that shift if you thought.
I personally think it would be because there's a large contingency of our population.
Sure.
You could also think about non
Yes.
From the planning department. Reach out
Okay,
to-
well, I think it's something we need to talk about so we get the right person.
And I do think it's very important to note that there will be extensive, not just City of Rochester, but also Olmsted County resident stakeholder community engagement, so it won't be limited just to Rochester,
Yeah.
so that is.
Yeah, that was another point of discussion at the meeting, was trying to figure out the best way to get public input, meaningful public input. So we're still talking about what the best way to do that.
So an option is to reach out to Dave Dunn, who is the director of planning, and explain that, ask if there's anyone on his team who is interested in library planning.
What was his name?
Dave Dunn.
Yeah.
And if that doesn't fly, there's always Kate.
Perfect.
Okay, we have options.
And I technically live in the county rather than the city. I'm not interested in.
Oh, no, Yeah, and I went over these, all the RFPs this morning, and there's a lot to talk about. But I noticed that there's different emphasis in each of those RFPs. They differ. And I also noted when I was reading through a lot of it, it's going to be a kind of a combination of effort with ourselves, with the city, with the attorney, and with the whole legal thing together. And then, of course, it has to go before this board. So we're trying to move quickly, but not carelessly.
What's the timeline?
We haven't figured.
Yeah, we have not finalized a timeline, again, because I want
I
to give
think we're going to need
space
to do
for.
it on Monday. This coming Monday.
I'm gonna respectfully disagree. Oh,
Okay.
finalize the timeline.
Yes.
Yes. Completely misunderstood. Yes,
We don't want
finalizing the
anything from
timeline,
the internet.
and especially knowing that if we, if adding that city council presentation component, that gives us a better idea of how we'll be able to, and what our goals might be for a final.
So maybe you and
document.
Laurel should talk about the comment a little bit more. All right. So that's the planning committee update. Anybody have any questions? Okay, number 6, the block, the minutes for the board meeting of December 20th, the accounts payable for January 11th, the December monthly reports and contracts signed by the library director, which were all included in the agenda package. Can I have a motion to approve these items?
I'll move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. All right, reports and recommendations. Great informational items, updated monthly stats report. Okay.
So I am very excited to share this with you. A part of the 2024 action plan is to improve data reporting and documentation to inform decision making. And specifically the KPI here is to provide improved board reports. So our previous board report, as you know, is kind of information overload, cluttered, difficult to read and interpret. And the improved board report will focus on 3 main categories: circulation, registration, and collection, and will include visualizations and trends. So the first page here is circulation, and it's broken out by physical and digital, as well as material type and geographic location. And then on the second page, the blue section there is sort of circulation continued, but we're looking at database retrievals and then total collection use, which is circulation plus database retrievals. And for all the blue section, we're looking at the month total and also the year-to-date totals. And then if we move into the orange category, we're looking at registrations, and then the green is collection, which is broken out by physical and digital, and then also material type. And for registrations and collections, we're looking at our new registrations and our new collection, and then as well as the total for both of those. And then what I'm most excited to share is our trends report. And this is customizable, but what I have here on the top half is total collection use. And so on the left side, well, first of all just means that we're looking at the main library as well as Bookmobile. And then the big number, that is the year-to-date number for this year. Previous year, year-to-date number for last year. The percent is the percent change from the previous year to this year. And then the light blue at the bottom is a 5-year trend line. Right next to that then is the breakdown for total collection use. So we can see over that 5-year period how database and then digital and physical compare. And on the bottom half, we have physical circ, digital circ, visitor count, and program attendance. So like I said, this is customizable, but we thought this was something that would be beneficial to have for our stakeholders and our community members. All of this was made utilizing Blue Cloud Analytics, and we redesigned our processes for efficiency and accuracy, reduced many manual adjustments that we were doing with our previous board report, which also reduces the staff time that it takes to make the reports each month. And we also formatted this report in the same way that our annual state report to the Department of Education is formatted. So that also helps when we do that annual report. We hope to start this with the board packet next month. Yeah, we're very excited. Is there any questions? Yeah.
I'd like to request the commas.
Request
Yeah.
commas?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not sure, but I will talk to our BCA rep and see if we can get commas in there.
It'd be easier to read.
Yes.
You look at that big number, is that 112,000 or 1 million? And that,
I like the colors a lot better than black. And they're, it's easier to read.
I think one of our questions to you is what, if you look at the monthly report, again, this is just the monthly report. So the board packet will still include the pages upon pages of all of the purchases, because there really isn't a good way for us to lump all of that data together. But the monthly report are these type pages that are very, at a certain point, you get so much black and white that it becomes less meaningful. So this is an opportunity to give feedback on the elements that you do rely on or review or look at in the current report, and give us feedback on what would either be missing or what you appreciate with this layout. And I do want to point out that this data is only through November, and so if anyone is tripped up by the, that's not 2 million, because every time I look at that, it's yeah, we can round it up. Yeah.
just a comment. So I was at Ashley Furniture. I was on the executive team in charge of analytics, and a picture tells a story. And so having a picture for us tells a story without us having to read all the fine print.
Just one little question. So if I wanted to find out, I don't know, how many magazines are being checked out. Would I still be able to find that?
Not on this report.
Not on this, but
We
it'll be
do
somewhere.
still, yes, we still have all of that data. We actually are keeping it now in kind of this master file. And we can, with that file, we can use BCA and we can create a report like this if that was needed. We can do that. So
Okay, but you're not losing track of any of that.
no, we're still keeping all of the data. Yep.
Will the visitor count and the total program attendance show up in the monthly report?
It does, so that one, I should have pointed that one out. So that one shows up as this page right now, which is something that was kind of changed earlier this year. It is much easier. It is much easier to, like, you can see, this is nice that it lists, and I think our plan is to still include the list, but have this, I think everyone really wants to see a little bit about the trends as far as folks coming to our programs, but this gives us that list so that we can say, oh, there were, 144 people that came to stuff to animal story time, or, we had this number of people attend this book.
And I think on page 3 of the monthly report, it does have some program information on there. So
Any other questions?
In at least the first year when we get, or for the first month, we get a parallel report so we can look at the old one and see how it compares.
we can do that.
That would be helpful
Okay.
to give you some feedback about what we would like to see.
Sounds good.
Anything else? All right, thank you. Rochester Reading Champions update.
So Tammy Fritz is our literacy services coordinator. All of our Rochester Reading Champions.
All the things under
10 minutes.
14. Okay, as fast as we can. So I don't skip anything. We're going to read most of it. Apologize for that. As Karen said, I'm Tammy Fritz. I'm the literacy services coordinator here at the library. Thank you for the opportunity to share some highlights and history of the Reading Champions program. What I have for you today is a bullet list of information. Please know that I'm going to whip through it. And if anything strikes a chord with you, go ahead and reach out to me. I've got some business cards on the table there. We can talk about it further when we have more time. So, Jeremiah, in the interest of time, let's go ahead and skip that one. But we're right to the history. Reading Champions was born of a strategic plan effort, and they worked through a community focus group for about a year. And Audrey Betcher, who was the director at the time, and others realized that there was more needed to be done to support literacy in our community. And they landed on using the science of reading and the Orton-Gillingham, or OG as we put it, method to deliver tutoring services to people at an economic discipline. Folks who couldn't afford tutoring at the reading center, let's say, or private tutoring, we were an option for them. The Rochester Area Foundation was the first funder of the Reading Champions program. And in 2014, the vision became a reality. And the first tutoring session actually took place in September of that year. And Gail Harris was serving as the coordinator. And she did for the first 8 years. Since the planning stages, we've collaborated really closely with the Rochester Reading Center. They've provided tutor training. They've provided assessment services and really valuable. Our team of tutors are extremely dedicated and very well trained, and they are volunteers. Funding is provided through grants, friends, book sales, and private donations. In 2018, the library earned an award from IMLS, and in part that was because of the Reading Champions program. 2024 marks our 10th year anniversary, so we are planning some really cool, fun, and exciting things for folks to attend in celebration. Next slide, please. Project assistant volunteers are community members that we put in place this year. We have 2 of them working for us. They really truly believe in our mission, but they're unable to commit to being the tutors. We have them working on that are still working towards our mission. And Literacy Services is currently working with a few organizations focused on building pipelines to future tutors. And let's see, limited availability to trainers, increasing costs, feedback from potential tutors that I was talking with, really prompted us to research an alternative training method. And as part of that, we did a pilot. 10 tutors have completed their level 1 training. And this training is fully aligned with the philosophy of the Reading Center, so we're not steering away from the OG and the science of reading in any way. But it does allow us to have flexible start times for training, lower costs, unlimited access to online resources, and also provides us an opportunity to diversify our team. And so far, the data shows that student growth is consistent regardless of the training pathways. Good news there. Training for 3 of the last 10 tutors was paid for through a grant partnership with the Community Education, and we plan to expand that opportunity in the future. In order to build capacity, we're also exploring a pilot at 2, possibly 3, next week of Rochester Middle School. Conversations long ago challenged us to find ways to be sustainable, and we're finding ways to be sustainable. Let's see. Let's go ahead and jump to the next screen. Oh, we did. So good stuff plus pretty. Kate got pretty, I get pretty too. So cumulative data, you can all read the numbers. Just a couple of things I wanted to point out. The 9,567 lessons cumulative, that's huge. That value in volunteer time is $500,000. That's incredible. 2023, we made some changes, did some pivoting, had a really successful year. 27 tutors overall, worked with 48 students. We had 8 new tutors that we started and continue to build that capacity. So this slide just shows us tutors, students, number of yearly lessons, and it's pretty. That's my pretty slide. All right, next slide, please. Data collection. Early on, we received funds from a Bremer grant, and we purchased LACE's database. And we track the demographics, the assessment scores, volunteer hours. Lynette Perry is on staff here, and she does an amazing job of entering the data so that we can report to the state monthly. She puts new tutor information in and all of those things, and also supports our tutors if they have trouble inputting their own information. Traditionally, students who have applied have been screened at the beginning, and then we screen them again at their exit time. Assessments are now done in-house for way too many reasons that I will get into today. But based on recent feedback, we have lined up a tutor who was formerly with us to help with some exit assessments and screeners. We added progress monitoring. Thank you. That's the word I'm after. Progress monitoring, just to know that we're on the right track. And honestly, we can tell a great deal from the data, but there are so many ways that our kids grow through this experience that we can't track. And so we added some surveys. So the kids at their progress monitoring, the students get asked questions about how they feel they're doing and their overall experience. And then last summer, I sent out a graduate survey. So we had 56 graduates, but 47 unique families. And we got 19 responses, so 40% response rate. I told Kate the other day, I was really hoping somebody would have something kind of negligible to say so we could use it for growth and expand and improvement, but we got a 4.9. Everybody was loving what we do, and they would all recommend us to a friend. In your packet, there's some comments that are on the next slide, but we don't have to read those together today. Right. Communication, 2022, I began sending a monthly email blast to the tutors. I'm old school. I love a handwritten note. We want to appreciate folks for their contributions, and we want to celebrate student achievements. And oftentimes, we get those things in the mail. I regularly attend meetings and check-ins that take place with existing and potential future partners or collaborators. We receive monthly updates about our finances from Dee and Ann with the Friends, and twice a year we meet more formally. And then quarterly, we connect with Brenda and Malia with the foundation, and so grateful for all of the support in managing those funds, and along with Sarah, Paulina, and probably look to Brenda in the next couple of months here to help us with some fundraising things in celebration of our. Yep. And new in 2024, I'm offering families, tutors, staff, collaborators, anyone who wants to sit in, have me listen to their thoughts and ideas one-on-one. Do that. Last October, the foundation sponsored the viewing of The Right to Read, and we are considering a second showing later this year. Awareness and networking continued through booths and meetings at community and educational events. Increasing the user friendliness of the hub has been a huge priority. The project assistance, that's one of the things. Carrie also has been instrumental in that. And let's see, we created a bunch of electronic resources for our tutors to help reduce their planning time because they are volunteers and we want to be respectful of that time. When we considered the safety of our tutors, our students, and the Reading Champions program, we partnered with the city HR to implement a more robust background check process. It's a minimal cost and well worth the peace of mind. Access to the students can be tricky. A lot of our families have transportation challenges. So 2 summers ago, Sarah and I met with a group from community education, and we signed an MOU, and that gave us reserved space in any of the Rochester buildings outside of school hours. Initially, this was a 1-year agreement, and then last summer when we met with Amy Ike, she said, you know what, this went so well, let's just not put an end date. And next slide, please. So looking forward, over the next 12 months, we plan on celebrating our 10th year anniversary, producing more formal short and long-term programming goals, continue to gather feedback, do research, and pivot to meet the needs of struggling readers, consider areas where literacy services may expand programming for preschoolers or adults. And I just want to share here that I shared information and data, but please know that one of the key takeaways is that all of the students who exit our Reading Champions program, they feel that they are better readers and better spellers. And our tutors are incredibly gifted at building relationships and the self-confidence, and that spills over into other areas of the students' lives as well. And I have one quick thing I'd like to share. A parent told me recently that they are so pleased with the academic growth, but the fact that a complete stranger dedicated so much time to their daughter's success was a lesson in giving and kindness that will stay with their family for a life. So, one of those things we can't. So I went way over my time because I read a lot slower than I did at home. So I apologize for that. Again, if you want to, well, we did make it to the question slide, but unless you have something super burning right now.
Thank you. Are there any questions? I was wondering about the alternative training model.
Mhm.
Is that a permanent fixture now, or is it still experimental?
I'm thinking it will be a permanent fixture.
That's what
We've
you're
had
using
really-
now.
Yep.
And
Well, we use both. We train at the reading center still. And then, so incoming potential tutors, we talk about that and which is the best fit for them. And
so they have
really
a
depends
choice.
on the individual.
They have a choice now. Hopefully that might increase in the long.
We're off to a good start with it, and they're fantastic to work with. And again, it's the same OG model.
I see a breakdown of the demographics, wise, et cetera, that students. And the other issue is with the change in the READ Act.
Yep.
Is that going to impact you continuing to use science of reading or OG?
It is not. The READ Act is amazingly helpful to us. Now that RPS is mandated
Well,
to follow the
they're going to,
guidelines, yes.
we'll see.
They have a lot of contact with RPS, we work really closely with them. And yes, the READ Act is following what we already do.
Well, I know the science of reading is everybody's.
That is true. We keep
Okay.
plugging away though. And I will get you those demographics.
Any other questions?
Maybe I already missed it. I wonder what's the total cost and funding you receive? Because we mentioned on the values we estimate. How about the cost that we receive just for this?
Yep, so Lynette and I are staff. And then the program, we looked at, in JDE, we looked at some numbers, and it really varies from 30,000 to, under 10 last year. So it depends. Initially, we were paying for all of the training and all of the assessments through the Reading Center. So,
I think there's so much that really is integrated too in what we do providing services anyway. For example, one of the years we spent a lot of money on building the literacy hub, which is a space that yes is used by Rochester reading tutors, but the collection is available. Folks can use that collection on their own. So it's hard to provide a fixed cost that isn't already intertwined with other services that we're providing. So there is some challenge in that, but we can.
Anything else? All right, well, thank you.
thank you. Oh, our cute little, you can graduate. Who's going to show you this?
Oh, go ahead.
Jake prints these with their 3D printer, and they're so darn adorable. So,
Thank you. Okay, 8C, automated materials handling system.
Yes, this may be foggy because this was a very long time ago that we came to you to ask for the recommendation to use funds from the IT revolving fund for this project, and now it's finally about to start. So I just wanted to provide the update that in February, between February 13th and the 24th, we are scheduled to have that replacement happening both for the exterior drive-up AMH system as well as the one in the inside the building. So there will be impacts, and we know that, but we do have our team, Andy and the CERT team, is aware, and that project is moving along. But we're trying to communicate as best as we can to folks that, if you don't want to return your items between the 13th and the 24th, that's fine, because returning them may be a little bit challenging. We are going to do some work on the back end to adjust the due dates. There will still be folks who do have a receipt, though, that says their paper receipt still says what their due date is, and they will abide by that and bring their item back, which is fine. We'll be able to do that with our staff. So.
You haven't had any serious kinks to work on. What do you mean serious?
We do not read building plans very often, and one minor thing, but thankfully we have Zach Wood from facilities, who was part of one of our calls recently, because there is an adjustment that needs to be made internally, a sandwich that needs to be built around the internal slot for the internal machine that we missed, because that is not our strong suit in reading building documents, and so that was one, could have been, but is not going to be it. Thanks to Zach and Fenicky Construction that will come in. Basically provide support for the actual machine that will need size will be adjusted from what is currently. But other than that, it's been fairly smooth sailing.
But that problem solved.
Problem solved, yes.
Any questions? All right, and the last one is youth representative.
Yes, so there was a question about this process, and I appreciate that because it's kind of fallen a little bit by the wayside. The position description, as you will remember, was approved by the board in September. In reaching out to the mayor's office, I along that they would be doing the selection as they do with the entire board. They are not interested, nor is the youth council interested in making that selection. So we're proposing that we have a very simplified process to select a youth representative, and we're also suggesting not to start the position until the fall, so it aligns with the school calendar. And just seems to
More details.
yeah, as long as there's no opposition to that plan, then that's how we will move forward. We did make one update to the position description, noting that it is a volunteer position, non-voting position on the board. We thought that was very important. But other than that, the description is the same as what you approved in September. We'll come back with. Yes.
I'm trying to recall, as I was reading through it, it said there would be a city representative of Pasco County. Are we looking at youth representatives or?
I felt the board was interested in
Just one.
two. Was it? Okay.
I have to go
We have
back. I
difference
don't
of
remember.
opinion.
I
You
honestly
all
don't
tell
remember.
me. I think there is value. Previously, there
Historically,
were
we've had
two.
Right.
Years ago, we
Theoretically.
had one.
Right.
When we supplied the representative from the Teen Library Council. When we moved to having Youth Commission send folks, they were sending two. And I think
Two.
there's value in two.
We usually get one. So
Yes.
if you want to see a youth member every month, you probably want two.
And I think there's some camaraderie and
Mhm.
some comfort in having a
So
fellow
there's not
youth.
here, they know
Yeah.
somebody else who's coming to the table. I mean, I would be supportive of two. It's not going to cost us anything extra. It's obviously.
Is there interest in ensuring that it's one from county and one from city, or is there?
Well, that would be one of the purposes of it. In the past, hasn't been one of the reasons that they would do it.
Pretty much always come from the city, right?
It wasn't.
No, it was just they were participating in the youth commission. What was the youth commission?
Well, ideally, I would think it would be one.
I think it'd be a nice opportunity for.
Might make it slightly more challenging.
Yeah, I would say, I would just aim at finding two people who want to be engaged. And as long as they, are interested, that's probably the primary. Once you start to say, okay, we have their one city, you just significantly limit your options. Having a fair amount of experience with high school students. It's just, you
Well,
know,
we could initially try the county, and if it doesn't work out, which to get what we were able to do.
So not make that a requirement, but consider
We'll
that
try
in the back
that.
of our minds.
Right.
Initially, we should try.
if you get 35 people who desperately pounding down the doors, pick one from the city, one from the county.
Okay.
If you get 3 and they're all from the city, pick 2 who will show up.
Sounds good.
Or 2 from the county, whichever way.
All right. That's the end of all of that. Any questions and answers? Yes.
I was looking through the interlibrary loan portion of the report. And I found it was interesting for the month of December, the lending that we did. Last year was 886 and this year in December it's 11. And that's like a 99% drop. Is there something that happened? Some contract change or something?
Yes, all of our staff were gone.
Okay. Okay. Okay, that's a simple explanation. There's nobody there to process them. Okay.
It does take people to make the work
Other questions?
I did want to point out, I don't have this in the official packet, but here is our board calendar. And I wanted to thank you all for your comments last month about our committee meetings. We have received some clarification. Our executive committee meetings don't necessarily need to be an open meeting, so that allows for us some flexibility. But I do still have them on this list. I think it's nice for us to continue to review our list of upcoming meetings and appointments. We have our planning committee meeting on Monday, and the next executive committee meeting will be the early part of February, and our finance committee coming up also in February. Personnel committee is one that we does need to meet and get scheduled. So we'll work with that.
Just as a note, I think 2/3 of your finance committee will not be here on February 21st.
Oh,
So you might want to.
okay. This is why it doesn't need to go into an official packet, because this is a living, moving document.
And
I
two
will
of us
fix
may
that.
not be at the board meeting either, so that'll give you a quorum. And I'm about 90% sure I got. There's a slump. I don't know if you'd want to shift the board meeting.
I could not do the 28th.
As long as you have a quorum, then there's no reason.
I'm retired, so it doesn't matter. Okay, anything else? Can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion. Meeting.